All right, welcome back to Real Quick Picks, where we give you the picks real fast and such. So we're going to do USMAN versus Burns today, UFC 258. And I decided that from now on, I'm going to throw $5 on every single fighter that I bet on moving forward. So then it'll be cool to go ahead and see how we do there. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the picks. First, we have Gillian Robertson to win over Miranda Maverick, Gabriel Green to win over Phillip Rowe. For the early prelims, Chris Gutierrez over Andre Ewell, Mallory Martin winning, Belal Muhammad, Rodolfo Vieira. That's for the prelims. And then going into the main event, we have Julian Marquez winning, Brian Kelleher, Kelvin Gastelum, Alexa Grasso. And then for this one, we kind of got my heart versus my brain here, but I am officially going to go with Gilbert Burns here with my $5 with my money unless I change my mind. So those are the picks, and we'll go ahead and talk about the whys. Okay, so now let's talk about why we picked each fighter. Before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and go through the odds in the event that anyone wants to see the odds for all of these fights. I did try my best not to look at any odds before picking fights. I did see that Macy Barber was an underdog as well as Gilbert Burns, but that was the only thing I really looked at before picking my picks. I do my best to just try to keep that out of it for my sake. But at any rate, let's go into the picks now. So the first one we have is Gillian Robertson over Miranda Maverick. I do think Gillian Robertson's going to take this. She kind of just has um, more experience. I feel like she's definitely better on the ground, and she also trains with American Top Team. I feel like at that lower level of fighting, which I do consider them both to be for the division, top of the world, lower of the rankings, if you will. But at any rate, I think that it's kind of easy to get them to the ground and finish on the ground. And from what I can see, I think Gillian Robertson should have a huge advantage in that regard. Next up, we have Gabriel Green versus Phillip Rowe. With this one, I am going with Gabriel Green. There's not much to know about these fighters, I feel like, other than I think that Phillip Rowe has kind of been on a tear here. I bet he's sitting a little comfortable. Gabriel Green, on the other hand, lost his fight of the night fight and then is getting another chance to fight now on USMAN versus Burns. I'm not sure what that's about, but if that were me, I feel like that would be a huge opportunity that I would try to take advantage of. So I'm hoping he's just going to have a little more incentive to win, and that's honestly what I'm going off of for that fight there. Next, we have, let's see, Andre Ewell versus Chris Gutierrez. Honestly, with this fight, um, Chris Gutierrez's last fight, right here, the win with the leg kicks, that was kind of all I needed um, to make my decision for that fight. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was very crazy. No offense to Andre Ewell, but nothing he's done, honestly, but I'm just picking based off of what I saw um, from Chris in this one. Next, we have Pollyanna versus Mallory Martin. I went with Mallory Martin pretty quickly here just because of her affiliation with Elevation Fight Team. For those that don't know, you have Alistair Overeem, Gaethje, Neil Magny, Drew Dober. Enough said with that one. Moving on. All right, next up we have Belal Muhammad versus Dago Lima. I'm going with Belal Muhammad because personally I've lost money on him against him, and I've lost money because of it. If that's not enough for you, then there is some MMA math you could do. If you're into MMA math, you have Tim Means, he a win there. Dago Lima, Tim Means lost there. So I'm going to go with Belal Muhammad there. All right, next we have Rodolfo Vieira versus Anthony Hernandez. Now, I didn't know who any of these guys were, but I'm going to go with Rodolfo Vieira here, and I'll tell you why. He seems to be a grappling monster, the black belt hunter. I mean, if you look, he's only lost to grappling bouts, which is kind of interesting, but he's beating everybody on the ground. He's getting a finish. I'm not convinced that Anthony Hernandez at 27-year-olds has what it takes to, you know, stop it from going to the ground. Maybe he'll catch him with the guillotine on the way in. I doubt it. I feel like this man seems experienced enough, and he's going to bring it to the ground and submit him. Next up, we have Maki Pitolo versus Juan Marquez. Now, two things I'm thinking here. One, with Maki Pitolo, I think he's a Hawaiian fighter. And in the past, I've had a lot of faith in Hawaiian fighters, but then they just tend to like to fight too much, maybe get hit, and it's like Max Holloway seems to be the only one that can do it right. But at any rate, I'm gonna go with Julian here. And another thing you can go off. I know people don't like MMA math, but I'm gonna keep using it here. Darren Stewart, on top of the reasons that I already feel when the MMA math just supports it, I just tend to go with it. So that's why I'm gonna go with Julian Marquez in this one. All right, next up we have Brian Kelleher versus Ricky Simon. Now I'm going with my heart a little bit here, but I'm using my brain a little too, and I'll tell you why. Brian Kelleher, I feel like he likes to be in there a lot, especially compared to Ricky Simon. Although my brain tells me Ricky Simon may just go in and wrestle him down over and over and get the win that way. Can't really tell you what it is about Ricky Simon that I don't love or why I don't support him much. Not that I don't support him, but I'm never like excited for his fights or wanting him to win really bad. I think it might have something to do with his hair, but at any rate, I'm going to go against Ricky Simon again. I'm going with Brian Kelleher. He plays the ukulele, I think. All right, next fight. Moving closer towards the main event, we have Kelvin Gastelum versus Ian Heinisch. Now, I'm going to go with Kelvin Gastelum. I know it's easy to think that Kelvin Gastelum is just past his prime and he's donezo after his fights. Now, you got to respect him a lot because after these 3 tough losses, he's now going into Ian Heinisch, which is a scary fight. I mean, he's no joke, despite the lack of competition, I guess you could argue. But I do think Kelvin Gastelum's going to get on track and give us a great fight and be a contender in this middleweight division once again. I'm going with Kelvin Gastelum. Next up, we have Maycee Barber versus Alexa Grasso. I remember when people were thinking Maycee Barber is going to go and win the belt, the youngest belt holder ever. They really thought that she was going to be the next John Jones. Alexa Grasso is going to win this fight. Alexa Grasso has way more experience here. Let's go to Alexa. Alexa Grasso has way more experience. I mean, look at this. Carla Esparza, Carolina Kowalkiewicz, Felice Herrig, Tatiana Suarez. I mean, look at this. Maycee Barber, that's a good win. Gillian Robertson, I'll give her that. That is a good win. But like honestly, she's not going to be able to stand up with Alexa Grasso. It's gonna be a beat down. I would put this on my DraftKings like lineup if I was doing one of those this week. I think she's gonna get a lot of points. I think she's gonna win the fight. I'm gonna win with Alexa Grasso for this one. And last but not least, we have the main event. This is kind of my brain versus my heart here. Again, with Kamaru Usman being the on-paper favorite and Gilbert Burns being the one that my heart wants to take the fight. I mean, Gilbert Burns' track record is just flawless. Besides whoever Jose Caceres is, maybe I should, no disrespect, but at any rate, just craziness on this, just wins after wins. But my heart does want Gilbert Burns to win. Um, really because I think if Gilbert Burns wins, imagine the Colby Covington versus Gilbert fight. Imagine the Ariel and the bad guy episode of DC freaking out about Colby versus Gilbert Burns. What an amazing fight. I think between the 3 of them, honestly, they could go back and forth and give great fights all around. So I really hope Gilbert Burns goes in there and takes what he feels like is his, but I think there's also a chance that Kamaru Usman just big brothers Gilbert Burns and they just kind of get paid together and then move along and then it's on to the next contender for Kamaru Usman and the next fight for Gilbert Burns. But at any rate, I'm excited for the card. And thanks for making it this far. Thanks for watching. Real quick picks. Peace.